All right, all right. So I came here today because I'm like, all right, my clan members, I feel like some of y'all need help with your builds. So I'm gonna start off with one that I know a lot of us hunters are using with the Shinobu's Vow Hunter build. We all been using it. We've been throwing grenades. We've been having a good time. I know I look fresh to death. You know what I mean? But sometimes I see y'all come out there with like the builds, and I start looking at your mods on the builds, and I'm like, damn, what are you doing? Like, what is your purpose? So I'm gonna give you my purpose. My purpose, whenever I make a build, especially when I'm on my hunter, because we have no way to heal ourselves. We really don't have that much protection outside of invisibility. I don't want to die. I hate dying on missions, anything. Like I hate dying. Like I can't stand this. So I try to build so I won't die, which is also what you'll see here. I got the 81 resiliency. It's not like any of this stuff I'm telling you is going to keep you from dying ever, because even I die sometimes, but I try to limit the times that I die. You know what I'm saying? So you want to have a high resiliency because, of course, resiliency speaks for itself. You're going to take less damage, so you won't die as quickly. So we need that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And one of the perks I'm going to show you that I use quite frequently, probably on almost all my builds, is the Font of Endurance. Basically, once you collect an orb of power, you get an armor charge, right? And that armor charge gives me a boost of resiliency, meaning I won't die as fast. You know what I mean? So, and I used that in the Grand Master the other day. And I wasn't dying as easily, so it works. Also, whenever I'm using my arc build, because I like to get in the mix, spark of resistance. Another reason is if I start to get surrounded, I'm in a sticky situation, I can try and run away and boom, increasing my resiliency here. Basically just more resistant to incoming damage as it says. You live more. Everybody wants to live, I'm sure. Okay. So I come here. If you look at my helmet, of course I'm running Ashes assets. Why? Because I'm using a grenade build. Because I'm using a grenade build, it makes sense for me to get my super energy from my grenades. We all know what Shinobu's Vow does in this clan. And if you don't know, Shinobu's Vow, I'll go to it. It improves our skip grenades, and we gain an additional skip grenade charge, right? And our skip grenades return energy to our grenades when we damage enemies. And y'all know we throw the script grenade out there, like five of them things go bang, 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 bang. We hit, boom, we got basically another grenade immediately. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. So that's why when I go up to the helmet, that is why I'm using Ashes to Assets, because it makes sense. I'm on a grenade build. I want to build up energy. I want to bust my super. I want to use my super as frequently as possible, and this will help me. Even if I don't kill, I still get it. You know what I'm saying? Your grenade comes back, boom, you throw another grenade. You throw another grenade. This is, it'll kill something. Eventually, something gonna die. So you will get that super energy. Harmonic Siphon is just something I'm using, right now. Um, I come down to Shinobu's and I'm using firepower because if I do kill something with my grenade, I create an orb of power. And like I said, what is important for me is to live, and orb of power, font of endurance. Okay. Font of endurance ties into my resiliency, ties into my spark of resistance. Like we want to start living on these missions. We want to be able to attack harder missions. So of course I just showed you multiple times, and I'm gonna open it again to show you that font of endurance. So y'all should be using it. If you creating orbs out here, you should be using it, trying to live. Of course, I put on bolstering detonation, grants class ability energy when I damage with grenades, and guess what? I'm using a grenade build. I know I'm using a grenade build, so boom, my builds, my mods, they should all tie into each other. This is just what I could afford to put on. Mods are expensive this season, so but still increase the grenade throw distance. I can throw it further away. Call myself Pat Mahomes, anything. Um, which brings us now to the chess piece again. I keep bringing up the chess piece here because this is where you get your resistances at. There's sometimes I look at y'all chess piece, and and people got all types of reserves on, but no resistances. So then when you get hit with sniper, if you know you're going into a mission with snipers, bust this on. I'm not saying that you're gonna survive all sniper shots. I'm just saying that this will give you a chance that boom, that hit that would have one shotted you now leaves you with a slither of health. Boom, you can move, get into cover, you can live. Now you're not wasting revives. You know, those are important things. If you know you got a bunch of
That's it.
thralls on that mission trying to attack you, throwing your melee damage. But if the thralls is what's taking you out, then we need to go back and then look at your resistance, okay? Because we got other problems if the thralls is what's really, causing you pain. Of course, I throw in my harmonic resistance. If you know what kind of threat you'll have on the mission, because if you go into a nightfall or different missions, you'll see something like a solar threat, arc threat, void threat. Boom, put your resistances on. Because you know those do 20% more damage. So you want to take less damage. Because the goal is all about living. It's all about living and whipping a little ass. Okay? Alright. So then we come here and we go to the boots. Why are the boots important to me? Again, I said living. Living is my goal. So boom,
Hmm.
recuperation. Recuperation replenishes my health each time I pick up an orb. And like I said, I'm creating orbs, whether it be with my weapons or my grenades. Recuperation. We're hunters. We don't have a rift. We ain't got no banner of war. We got to. We need something that's gonna heal us because we want to live. You know what I'm saying? Most of those times when we can't complete a mission fast enough or something, somebody's dying. We always dying, and the goal should be to live and not die. So recuperation, it should be on any hunter, all builds should have recuperation on the boots. I don't care what the build is. I don't care what the build is doing. If something else is blocking you from recuperation, you take that off and put recuperation on because you shouldn't be making a build that's not creating orbs because that's just crazy and it wouldn't make any sense. So of course, because of that, then also I have on the elemental charge. I'm using the grenade build, which is also going to create ionic traces and stuff like that. And you want to be able to collect your ionic traces to get these armor charges. You want armor charges, honestly. I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna show you why you want armor charges because you're trying to live. So I can't stress this enough. Like I'm just saying. And of course, if we all are doing the build, we're using the Spark of Ions, defeating a jolted target, which will jolt because of our grenades. And then once we defeat them, boom, we got an ionic trace. And y'all already know what ionic traces have been doing for us. If y'all don't know, well, then what have you been doing? um, defeating jolted target also amplified. Man, guys, you know what I'm saying? All of our abilities coming back. We're faster. We're doing. Man, I love being amplified. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. But that's why I use elemental charge because collecting an ionic trace, a void breach, a fire sprite, stasis shard, whatever, destroying the tangle has a chance to give us another armor charge. It also helps us live
Let's
more.
see.
Then I'm using insulation, basically just for my abilities. Get your grenade back. You could just focus on innervation, but man, why not get all your abilities?
Axe killing me.
But yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go overkill, but you can. I say for all your abilities, get all your abilities back. You don't want to be stranded out there with no abilities, but you definitely want to heal. Recuperation. If you ain't got recuperation on, you're wrong. So just fix it. Okay. Moving on to the mantle here. Most of the time, I use Reaper. Reaper is like a big thing. You kill, get a weapon, get an orb. Orbs are important. Chess piece. I think I've seen it enough. Of course, bomber because I'm using a grenade build. Time dilation to have my armor charge last longer. Some people run two, but right now I only got space for one. Another perk that I use quite frequently is powerful attraction because I get to collect nearby orbs when I'm using my class ability, which I usually use that on my other build because I'm constantly rolling on the ground, constantly rolling, 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 punching, rolling, punching, rolling, punching, stuff like that. So I use that more so on that build than I do this one. But that's a definite option for you because remember, if you're picking up your orbs, guess what else you're doing? Using recuperation, which is healing you which is also giving you armor charges if you're picking up orbs, which is also keeping you alive a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So it's important. All right. And of course your stats. Stats is something that, if we're on the game, we could talk about that together. You got your resiliency, you got your discipline. Of course I'm using a grenade build on high discipline. I sure can go higher on resiliency and stuff like or put something else up, but like when I'm using this build it works. But like now that aside, I want to go to your weapons. Now I know there's some of y'all in the clan that don't like shotguns and stuff like that. I don't know why. Shotguns shoot differently. Maybe you want to try a different shotgun. I don't know. But it is what it is. But there's tons of weapons in this game you can use to do damage, right? So one thing that all three of these weapons, and these are just like a base setup that I use for this build, because a lot of the time I am using forbearance, but like, I like to switch it up sometimes. But this is like a base setup for this build. And some of y'all might be like, well, what's the point of this? Blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that all three of these weapons have in common, like I keep telling you and I keep repeating it, I'm using a grenade build. So I want to use a perk that helps me get my grenades and also helps me with the weapon. So you look at Demolitionist. Kills with this weapon generates grenade energy. I'm using a grenade build. Activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. I'm using a grenade build. I'm always throwing grenades. Every time I have a grenade, I'm tossing it out there. You know what I'm saying? I have it on my shotgun. You come down here to your shotgun. Boom. Grenade build. Oh man, I'm busting the shotgun. Like time to get busy. You know what I'm saying? Especially for shot, slide shot is good for shotguns. You boost your range and all that stuff, and just sliding and whatever. But demolition, this is what's really important because I'm using a grenade build, so it makes sense. Then I come down to my rocket, so it don't matter if I go out there with just this setup, I am going to get grenades because no matter what weapon I kill with, my grenade, even if I kill with my grenade is gonna come back. And that's the whole point. Like, so when y'all are putting your builds together, it's not just about, oh, like, all right, well, I like the build, boom, I got some of the stats, like, like you want to be able to use this build anywhere. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, like let's say I decide I'm going into a nightfall activity and my it's barriers unstoppable. Now I can use Rufus Fury because barriers is auto rifles this season. You'll know that by coming down here to your artifact. You got your barriers here, anti-barrier rounds. But most of the time when I'm going into a nightfall, I try to get weapons that hit a little bit harder. So I bust out the Wish Ender. Wish Ender has built-in anti-barriers, built in, right? But guess what? Now I have two teammates, right, on my team, so I don't have to spec into the unstoppable because I got two teammates. So if I got anti-barriers, one of my other teammates or both my other teammates should be running unstoppable because I'm constantly popping. You know what I'm saying? And with Wisher, there's a one shot pop. You hit them with this, and boom, that barrier is down. It's over. And as you can see by the amount of kills I have on, I definitely do use it more. I use it more than a lot of my other weapons. I use it just for random activities. But also, you can always run, especially this season, while something like Unstoppable is fusion rifles. Because one thing I want to get a lot of people in this clan away from is running dual primaries. Dual primaries is not a recipe for success. Like if you're trying to get if you're trying to get an event done, dual primaries is not a recipe for success because no matter what, you're only doing chip damage. So you can't even you know what I'm saying? Like you can't run up on them and bomb, do big damage and chunk damage. You can only do chip damage because you're running two primaries. So that's why I don't recommend you trying to have, like let's say it's freaking anti-barrier and overload. Like so you're gonna be running the anti-barrier and then the overload hand cannon. No. Let somebody else run the hand cannon. You know what I'm saying? Or you run the hand cannon, let somebody else run the anti-barrier. You know what I mean? Like so, but don't dual primaries is no, no, it's not good. It's not good. All right, it's literally when you take those dual primaries in there, you are being a hindrance to the team. So if you have builds with a bunch of dual primary setups, get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? Take one of those weapons and put on a chunk damage, some kind of powerful, hard hitting weapon. Okay. But also look at the perks. Look at the perks. Like you don't want to be using a grenade build and all your weapons have incandescent on it. Like incandescent is cool. You're gonna be burning stuff, but it's not helping you with your grenade build. You know what I'm saying? It would be better if you run an incandescent. If you run it solar, you know what I mean. But like, pay attention to your perks. Not just the gloves or anything like that. Like you wanna pay attention to all of it. So, that's why I just wanted to have this conversation about your different builds. Like, let's say you go on YouTube and you don't like the way that they're, running the build. Like, certain builds have certain play styles and whatnot. Um, then it's up to you. It's your build. You can change it, but like, don't just be out here running anything. Pay attention to the perks that's on your weapons. Pay attention to your stats. Pay attention to the mods that you're using. Have a plan for the build when you're running the build. Like any build you make, have a plan for it. Let me make sure I go. Let me make sure I save this John real quick because Destiny, one of Destiny. Um, because then I want to show you one of my other builds that I use pretty frequently, which is my Strand build. Now, most people aren't using this exotic for Strand, but I am simply because, like I said, I like to live. So you'll see on this one, I'm not really using the font of endurance, but of course I can. I can put it on at any point in time. You know what I mean? But where I get a lot of my healing from is
Really?
my helmet, the Worm Husk Crown. When you dodge, you get a small portion of your health back. And if you already are full health, you get a shield bump. So that gives you another way to live. But one thing you can see that I'm definitely using, like I said, I use on all my builds, recuperation. If I bust an orb on the ground, I'm picking it up, I'm healing. So I'm healing whether I'm dodging, I'm healing, I'm just picking up orbs and stuff like that. Like, you want to try to heal. Let me see if I'm running it on here. Yeah, as you can see, Thread of Warding, Woven Mail. Woven Mail gives you crazy resistances, y'all. Crazy resistances. So if you're running the Strand build, in my opinion, especially if you're a hunter, you should be using Woven Mail. We have exotics that help boost our Woven Mail, stuff like that, but like on this build right now, I'm just using the Worm Husk Crown because I like to live. No matter what, I like to live. That is one of my favorite things to do while I'm playing the game is living. Um, I haven't really mastered my setup for this yet. Right now, I'm using the thin precipice just because of chain reaction and it hits hard. But if I'm in another mission, but I'm using my strand build, I'll probably change my heavy back to a heavy machine gun or a linear fusion or something like that. I got different weapons to go with
That's it.
depending on the activity. So that's why I just want, as you can see, I'm using a strand weapon here to create tangles, so that way I can use our new
That was
aspect, the
yesterday.
whirling maelstrom. It does hella damage, y'all. Does hella damage. And then another thing I'm using, Threaded Spectre. It sucked at first, in my opinion. It sucked. But now when I bust that shadow clone out, they all just look at it. No matter what you're fighting, they all look at it, they attack it. It gives you the ability to run away. Plus, because you dodged to create it, you just healed yourself. So now, boom, you can either run and get to a new spot. You know what I'm saying? Like when y'all make these builds, you gotta have a purpose. Your build has to have a purpose. And I believe one of the biggest purposes that your build should have is living. Because it's no fun when someone's dying or someone's dying, you're dying, like blah blah blah. None of that is fun for your other teammates because now when you die, your importance to the team is like, ad clearing or DPS. But when you're dying, someone has to stop and pick you up. You know what I mean? Even if they don't stop and they keep shooting like how I do, we're still losing out on your damage. Understand that in a three-man team or a six-man team, you are important. The reason why you're on the team is because you're important. So we need you
I
to be
know.
able to carry your weight. You know what I'm saying? Especially us hunters. especially us hunters, because we already don't really provide any benefits to the other classes or anything like that. So at the bare minimum, the least we can do is go ham and live. You know what I'm saying? The other classes are already dropping rifts and wells and banners and walls and you know what I mean? Like so the bare minimum as a hunter main, the least we could do is keep ourselves alive. You know, so that's just my I guess my little tidbit on builds, what your build should be looking like. You should have multiple builds for multiple situations. As you can see on my boots, if you can see this screen, you'll see recuperation is on every single pair of boots I own, because it's just the right thing to do. Um, so yeah, hold it, Peace out.